In 2014, Apple introduced a phone that immediately became one of the most popular iPhones ever made, the iPhone 6. It brought a brand new design, a bigger screen, and a lighter, cleaner feel that made millions of people upgrade instantly. At the time, it felt modern and almost futuristic, but now, more than a decade later, we're in 2025, and the smartphone world has evolved far beyond what the iPhone 6 was built for. So the question is simple but important. Is the iPhone 6 still worth using today? To answer that honestly, we need to look at what the phone still does well, where it struggles, and how it fits into the world we're living in now. Let's start with the design. The iPhone 6 still has that classic, rounded aluminum body that many people loved. Holding it today still feels surprisingly good because of how light and comfortable it is, but compared to modern smartphones, the differences jump out immediately. The screen is small by today's standards, the bezels are very thick, and the phone has no water resistance at all. So while the design is nostalgic, it doesn't hold up in terms of practicality or durability in 2025. Performance is where things really start to fall apart. The iPhone 6 runs on Apple's A8 chip with just 1 GB of RAM, and while that was fine in 2014, the world has moved far ahead. Apps today require more power, more memory, and more modern processors to run smoothly. On the iPhone 6, simple things like scrolling, switching between apps, or loading a web page can feel slow and heavy. The phone struggles with multitasking, animations lag, and even basic apps can crash because the hardware simply can't keep up anymore. If you're thinking about gaming, even light games struggle because the A8 chip wasn't designed for the kind of graphics mobile apps use today. But the biggest limitation of the iPhone 6 isn't actually the hardware, it's the software. The phone stopped receiving updates at iOS 12. That means no new features, no major improvements, and most importantly, no modern security patches. A lot of apps in 2025 don't even support iOS 12 anymore, so you'll find that many of them either won't install or won't run properly. Beyond convenience, this creates a real security risk because outdated software is much easier to exploit. In a time when mobile security is more important than ever, using a phone stuck on a system from 2018 is a major drawback. Then there's the camera. The iPhone 6 came with an 8-megapixel rear camera and a 1.2-megapixel selfie camera. When it launched, it took good photos for the era, especially in daylight. But in 2025, the camera is extremely limited. It doesn't have night mode, portrait mode, 4K video, or any of the modern features people expect from smartphone cameras today. Low-light photos look grainy, videos look shaky, and selfies lack detail. It's still usable for basic snapshots, but not for content creation or anything that demands high quality. Battery life is another major issue. The original battery was only 1,810 mAh when the phone was new, tiny compared to today's batteries, and most of these batteries are now 10 or 11 years old. They drain quickly, can't hold enough charge for even moderate use, and in many cases cause the phone to randomly shut down. Even if you replace the battery, the capacity is still too small to last long in modern daily use. Storage also becomes a real problem. Many iPhone 6 units started with just 16 gigabytes of space. Once you account for the operating system, you're left with a very small amount of usable storage. Apps today are bigger, photos and videos take more space, and updates require more room. So running out of storage happens very quickly, especially if you try to install more than a handful of apps. On top of that, the iPhone 6 lacks many features we now consider standard. It doesn't support fast charging, wireless charging, 5G, or even modern Wi-Fi standards. There's no water resistance, no Face ID, and the Bluetooth version is old, which affects audio quality with wireless earbuds. When you compare that to even the cheapest modern smartphones, the gap becomes very obvious. When you look at all these limitations together, the real question becomes, is the iPhone 6 still worth using in 2025? And the truth is, it really depends on the kind of phone user you are. For a lot of people who rely heavily on modern apps, fast performance, strong security, long battery life, and features like better cameras or 5G, the iPhone 6 is going to feel outdated. Even though the phone is extremely affordable now, its age shows in the speed, app compatibility, and overall reliability. In that situation, going for a budget Android or even a used iPhone 7, 8, or SE will give you a noticeably smoother and more secure experience. The iPhone 6 was a legendary phone that shaped the direction of Apple's design, and even today it still carries a bit of that charm. But whether it's practical in 2025 really comes down to your lifestyle and what you expect your phone to do.